Pitch control.
The Morning Shift Mke uncut on HiddenHardRadio.com.
What you doing still in bed, man? Yo, you need to punch in for that Morning Shift Mke with Sayer right here on HiddenHardRadio.com exclusively from 10 to 2 p.m. Check it out, man. You're missing out.
Good morning, Grand Risings, all those things you say to the folks you rock with in the AM, man. And y'all know the routine, but we're going to keep repeating it because they say you got to say and do things like 200 plus, 2,000 plus sometimes, and then it get engraved into your memory, become like a muscle reflex, and we very much need this to be your muscle reflex. Just get your hygiene together before you jump in somebody's face, man. Don't nobody want it. It ain't going to work. You just might get punched in the face, so you don't want to do it. Trust me, I've seen it happen. It's Friday, y'all. So I'm looking to my Muslim brothers and sisters. Y'all know the drill. Come 1 o'clock, I'm ding bopping for you. But right now, y'all, we on the journey. That's right, we on the journey once again with Coach Erica. And she has a guest for us, so we're gonna dive right in. Y'all keep it locked. Make sure you share all of the live feeds. We live on Facebook, Hidden Hard Radio. We live on YouTube, WHHP TV, and we live on Twitch. We are the post of the city. Y'all keep it locked. Hidden Hard Radio. Let's go.
Good morning. Good morning. It's me, Coach Erica. Happy New Year. We are back. We made it to see 2025. This is our first show of the year, and I am super excited to be back. And per usual, like Sayer said, we have another amazing guest that has taken time out of his day to join the show today. So to everyone out there in the world, you need to be tapped in because this is going to be the only place on Fridays that you get an amazing show that's all about mindset, money, and real estate. That's what we talk about on The Journey with Coach Erica. But I hope everyone, just kind of as a check-in, had the opportunity to have not only some relaxation, some resetting for the new year, but also an opportunity to take some time for self so you can be prepared and be your best version of yourself for this new year of 2025. There's so many things that we touched on 2024, and I'm excited for everyone because I know everybody is on their way, well on their way to all the things that they are ready to do, they are setting out to do. Maybe you're looking to make some improvements with self. Maybe you are about to finally get started in real estate, finally get started on that business path for you, whatever that looks like. But I'm excited, and I'm here to let you know that you absolutely can and will conquer this new year of 2025 and do all the things needed to be done. So I kind of thought about today, and I said, it is the start of the year, right? Everybody's like on that kick. They're pumped, right? I got my goals in place. I'm ready to make all these changes. And I said, well, where is the best place to start with conversation on this first Friday of the year? And everybody know, just in case if you don't know, and this is maybe your first time tuning into the show, your coach, I am extremely big on mindset because my favorite saying, if you know, you know. And my saying is, if your mind is not right, your money's not going to be right. Therefore, your pockets are not going to be right. So before we can even talk about finances, before we can talk about real estate, before we can talk about all these things, we have to do a self-check and say, self, is my mindset in the right place it needs to be in order for me to achieve and conquer what it is that I'm setting out to do, whatever that looks like for you. So I want to start off, I follow me on this because it's a couple things I want to break down. And there's something that I was kind of pondering on that I believe kind of sets people back a bit. And we're going to start here. My question to you is, do you have what we call a scarcity mindset? So let's talk about what the definition of the word scarcity means. So when you have scarcity, there's a short supply or shortage of something, or something is not easy to get or it's not easy to find. There's a scarcity, okay? So let me take it a little step deeper. So maybe someone may say for their business that they do, there's a scarcity in them finding skilled workers to be able to do the job. So they have a shortage of something, or something is hard to get, they can't find it. Okay, follow me on this. So when we talk about a scarcity mindset, the definition of a scarcity mindset is when you believe there are limited resources. So if someone else has something, you feel there is less of that resource available to you. So let's go a little bit deeper about what are the attributes of a scarcity mindset. So if you have a scarcity mindset, maybe you're thinking, well, I know how to help this person, or I know how to maybe point them in the right direction. But if I share the information, they'll take it away from me. I'm gonna lose something if I share this information. Or if I support this business, now let's make it real. If I share this person's business about what they're doing, or put this as a post on my stats, then maybe this might take away from my business and what I'm doing, and maybe not, take my business off the map. Another attribute of what I believe of a scarcity mindset: jealousy, competitive mindset. All of those things are attributes of having a scarcity mindset. So you have a competitive mindset versus a collaborative mindset. Now follow me on this, because I am going somewhere and I'm going to make a point and go a little bit deeper. So when you have a competitive mindset, you're competing. So a lot of times people have these competitive mindsets and they're competing with other individuals, and the other individual doesn't even know that you're competing with them. Why? Because they don't have a scarcity mindset. They're not competing with anyone. They're focused in on what it is that they're doing. They're seeking out all the things and information that they need to do to conquer and achieve what they're looking to accomplish. So they are not even realizing, or may not even know, that this person to the side of them is in competitiveness with them. All right. So follow me again. When we talk about the scarcity mindset, sometimes we also have a competitive mindset instead of a collaborative mindset. So now here I'm going to take it to the next layer. So why is collaboration important? And this is going to bring my point full circle, especially because we're at the start of the year. Why do we need to be in collaboration? Well, for those of you that don't know, when you collaborate, you're working with someone to produce or to create something. So when you collaborate with someone, you have a partnership, you have a union, you have made a collaboration to work with that person to create something. So when we talk about this scarcity mindset and the person with a competitive mindset, and I'm a person who's looking to collaborate, I have a networking collaborative mindset, I'm going to be in a much better place in starting my year. And here's why. Because when you collaborate, you come together to create something even bigger. You have more minds to give more perspective and insight. You have more opportunities to make connections, to be maybe introduced to that right person, that right situation, or that right thing that can help you maybe go a little bit faster than what you're going on your own. When you have that collaborative mindset, you know it's not a competition. You know that together, what's that saying? Together we are better, we are stronger, because we're going to move with the force, versus if we move with this mindset of competitiveness and scarcity that, oh, I don't want to say anything, I don't want to share anything, because if I do, then this may take away from what I'm doing. And I'm here to challenge you in this new year, as we are still early on in the year, to help you better assist in accomplishing your goals and all the things that you set out to do, we have to start with our mindset. It is so important that we start with our own thinking pattern, and we have to unlearn those old behaviors and those old thinking habits in order to make space for new thinking habits and better learned behaviors that are going to be beneficial and vital to our success on this journey. Now, let's go a little bit deeper with when we talk about this word collaboration, when we have a collaborative mindset. For all my people out there that don't know, your coach, I am also what we call a real estate investor. I'm not a realtor. So there's a difference. A realtor goes out and find deals. Sometimes I look for deals, but I'm not a realtor. I'm the person that's looking for the good deals. So I can then, with that deal, either have the opportunity to buy and hold on to it and make it a rental property and collect cash flow, or I'm looking for an opportunity to buy and sell it, or the common word we hear, buy, fix, and flip it, so I can then receive my profit at the end once I'm done bringing the property back to life, because that's what we do. Now, when we talk about real estate, I believe it's important to have a collaborative mindset. And let me tell you why from experience. One of the things that I always talk to everyone that I work with, I like to call it my success team, because I coach Erica, Odom Investments and Property Management, which is my business. For those of you that don't know, we work as a team. It's not just about me. It's about the team. We move as a force. And that's where that collaboration is key. Why? Because on the team, the success team, there are several individuals. So to my contractors out there, we need collaborative mindsets in 2025. Here's why. Because if you are a contractor that have proven to be good at what it is that you do and very well versed and knowledgeable in your area of expertise, and you're reliable and you do quality work and you get the job done, guess what? When you have a collaborative mindset, you understand that, wait a minute, if Coach Erica goes and get a deal, guess who she's going to call when she needs a plumber? Guess who she's going to call when she needs an electrician, or she needs a carpenter, or she needs somebody to come and install the floors? She is in direct collaboration with me, which means in this partnership, we come together, we collaborate. It works for everybody, because guess what? I'm going to get the deal. You're going to get the money, because you're going to come onto the property. You're going to do what needs to be done. I'm going to sell the deal. It's a direct collaboration. Same way when we talk about the process of getting or obtaining a property. You have a realtor. You have a mortgage broker or lender. You have a home inspector. You have an appraiser. You have all these different people, right, on your team. And what is it that we do? We all collaborate. We come together to create the end goal, which is that this property can now become Coach Erica's property. She can now go out and do what it is that she do. But guess what? Because we all understand and realize that it is a collaboration, we all benefit. Because like I always say, at the end of the day, when that deal hits the table, everybody at the table is getting paid at some point in the process of the deal, whether it's in the upfront process, on the back process, during the process. Everybody is getting a takeaway of something. So collaboration, it is time to collaborate. It is time to stop the competitiveness. There is so much success out here, and everybody has the opportunity to have success. Everybody has the opportunity to conquer and accomplish what it is that they want. But there's so many more layers to that. But I don't want to take up too much time, because we have such an amazing person here out of his busy schedule to come and be with us today. So if you are tuned in now and you know someone who has been talking to you about, I really want to get into real estate, but I really don't know how I'm going to fund my project. I got the money, I'm ready to go, but I just don't know what next steps to be, or I really don't know how to go about maybe getting the best deal that's going to make sense for what it is that you want to do. This is the show you need to be tuned in. So please share the link, tap in, in, whatever you need to do to make sure those individuals are on the show right now, because we are about to dive deep, and this conversation can really be the starting point for someone who is ready and they're ready to move forward in their career of real estate. So I have the opportunity to bring Net Worth Realty Milwaukee into the studio today. Let me tell you a little bit about them. So this branch is just here in the Milwaukee branch, but they're all over. What they do is they purchase single family homes and then they source them out to local and nationwide key buyers within their organization. They purchase over 200 properties per month. That's a lot of properties. Over 200 properties per month throughout the 29 markets that they occupy in the United States. That's a lot of markets. So we really need to tune in, because you may be very likely in a market that they are purchasing properties in. So without further ado, I would like to introduce the general manager right here in the Milwaukee location, Mr. Van Blackman. Good morning.
Hello. How you doing? I'm doing great.
Good. How are you doing today on this cold day?
Very good. Very good. Very excited to be here with you guys as well.
Yes. So we have so many people that I'm sure are tuned in from what I can see from viewing here that are ready. They're excited. But one of the things that I often get that people come to me directly about is, Coach Erica, well, how do I get started? What do I need to do? I'm almost quite there, but I really don't know how to go about it as far as maybe the money or finding the deal. So could you start off by first talking a little bit about what it is that your organization does and how you can help or support people out here looking to get into real estate?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. So, well, like you said earlier, we're a license acquisition company. So what that means exactly is we're going to go out there and purchase distressed properties. And as is conditioned in every market that we're in, we buy them with our own money. And then we turn around and resell those properties in the same exact condition to other investors within our organization. And then they're the ones that go out and put money into the property, and then they turn around and resell it for a profit, or they keep it as a buy and hold. They put a tenant inside, and it's a part of their portfolio at that point.
Right.
So we help investors find deals, number one. Number two, we also help out with the hard money lending in case they need help with that as well.
Okay, awesome. And one thing I want to dive right into, again, for those of you tapping in, I myself am also a real estate investor. So real estate has a huge passion in my story, my own personal journey. But one thing that I actually don't have experience in, and I've never done, is hard money lending. So right. I've always gone more of like I'm going to call it the traditional route. So most of my deals that I have currently, I have purchased those deals through a mortgage broker, a lender. So I have a mortgage loan on my properties, and I get my deals, and currently I've been using my own liquid, as we call it, so cash for the people who don't understand our real estate lingo, but I use my liquid to then be able to go in and modify, or what I like to call bring back to life, these distressed properties, and then make them beautiful. And then depending on the deal, I then determine, is this the right deal for me to hold on to and place tenants and collect cash flow into a certain extended period of time? Or is this the right deal where I now, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get this one off the books. We're going to collect our check and we're going to keep moving forward. Right. So I think a lot of people would appreciate learning a lot more about hard money, because I get a lot of questions about that. And I am the first to tell people, if I don't know, I will tell you I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and feed you fluff, because that's not going to benefit you or me. So if you could dive a little bit deeper and kind of break down, what is the concept of hard money lending? How is that different from like what I do, going to get a mortgage loan?
Great question. So essentially, a hard money loan is a short-term, high interest construction loan. Okay, so what that means is it's not a 30-year mortgage from a bank that might be charging 6, 7, 8%, whatever it is these days. This is something. It's a loan that you're going to be getting from a lender that's going to be anywhere from maybe 3 to 6 to 12 months. Okay, so substantially shorter than a traditional loan that a homeowner, an owner occupant, might be getting.
Okay.
And then it's also, rates could be anywhere from 10 to 15% annually. They also charge origination fees up front, but essentially it's a way for any investor to get to purchase a property. Let's just say that you've got $50,000 in your bank account, right?
Right.
That's obviously not enough money to buy a property for $100,000
Right.
with cash and put another $50K into it,
Right,
right?
right.
And maybe if you're trying to resell it for $200,000, it's a flip. That's your goal. Well, with the hard money loan, instead of having to have $150K of capital in your bank account to purchase it with cash, you can essentially do the same thing with anywhere from 20 to 25 grand off the top of my head out of your pocket to do the same deal. And that would be to purchase it and to renovate it.
Right, right. Yeah. So for those of you just tuning in, we have Van Blackman from Network Realty really breaking things down. And we're having a conversation right now about hard money lending. And just to take the conversation a little deeper so people can really understand the difference even more. So, for example, when I go into a bank, because I'm directly working with a real estate broker, okay, or I'm working with a bank, credit union, whoever that is for that individual, there's certain qualifications that I have to meet. I have to go in with a good credit score. So I would say you probably want to be at minimum 740 if you want to get a good rate. So your credit needs to be on point. And we're talking all 3 credit bureaus. For those of you that may not know, we have 3 credit bureaus: Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And when you walk into a bank to qualify for a mortgage loan, they are pulling all 3 credit bureau scores, and they are then taking what we call the middle score. So whatever score falls in the middle, that's the score that they're going to use to qualify you for that home purchase. So your credit needs to be right at all credit bureau levels, because you don't know where you're going to fall, and you want to make sure wherever that falls is a good enough score. But, even beyond the credit, you got to have money. You got to show what we call assets. You have to have proof of assets, meaning that can you show the bank some sort of statement, whether it is your savings account, your checking account. For those of you who have Roth IRAs or any type of investment account, those are considered assets. Are you able to produce some type of statement that shows the assets that you have on hand? In addition to the credit, the assets, they also are looking at your debt. That's huge. We call that your debt to income ratio. Let's keep it simple. Do you have too much debt and not enough income? Is your income not high enough to support the debts that you have? And then when we talk about adding on another huge debt like a mortgage loan, can you actually support all of that at the end of the day? So I'm pointing this out for a reason. And I think Van knows where I'm going with this, so people can really understand the difference and really understanding your situation and knowing, is hard money lending the route for you, or maybe traditional lending is the route for you, or maybe you have the liquid. I wouldn't recommend spending all your liquid on a property. That's just my take as your coach. I wouldn't recommend that. But there's a difference, right? And so I'm pointing that out because what I would like for you to do, Van, is kind of talk about a person walking into your office and they want to now collaborate with you and your team and get into real estate. What does that process look like for them? Because I just talked about what the process briefly. I didn't go as deep, but you have the basis of what you're going to have to expect when you walk into the bank in order for them to give you a loan. And before I have you speak, I just want to say this because I hear this so much, and so I don't want to ignore this. As a side note, ladies and gentlemen, when you walk into the bank to do a traditional mortgage lending, when you get your pre-approval, that is not the end all be all. That does not mean that you're going to get the property. And I'm not saying that to be discouraging. That's an educational moment. The pre-approval is just basically saying that, hey, based on your credit score, based on your income and debts that you have right now, this is the amount that you qualify for. So if you have a pre-approval for a $150,000 loan, that means that the bank has looked at your, we'll call it your personalized situation, and based on what they've seen, now know that you can potentially afford a home up to $150,000. But it is important to know and understand that that actual application process to actually see if you're going to qualify for the loan, that does not begin until you actually find a property. So when you actually find a property and you're ready to move, then you're going to put down that property address on the loan application, and then that's when it actually starts, and that's when your process is actually beginning to determine if you are yet actually going to be qualified and approved, keyword, approved for the mortgage loan. So I just like to put that out there for educational purposes, because I see so many people that say, oh, I got approved. Yes, you got pre-approved, but you didn't actually get approved for the loan yet. And that is so vital to know when we talk about understanding certain things within the process. But I'm gonna be quiet, and I would like Van to kind of dive into, when I walk into your office and I want to do that hard money loan, what does the process look like then?
So first off, the Net Worth Realty is the name of the brokerage, right? And then 212 Loans is the name of our sister company. That's the actual hard money lender out of Houston, Texas that we've partnered up with. Okay. Essentially, it's I think probably 50% of the ownership with 212 Loans is also Net Worth Realty, so sister company. Anyways, you walk into our office and we pretty much just walk you through exactly all the services that we offer. The big bulk of that is offering up properties that need a lot of work and repairs that make sense for you as an investment, right? Whether it's a quick fix and flip or buy and hold or whatever it is that you're looking for. Once you've told us how exactly you're planning on financing these things, most people aren't buying them with cash. A lot of them would prefer to go with some type of loan of some sort. So that would either be a private money or a hard money loan. If they are looking to use hard money, the way that 212 does it, essentially it's an online application. It's very straightforward. They're going to find out your credit worthiness, so they are going to pull your credit. Okay. Unlike the lenders that you might be talking to on the conventional side, I think our lender is only looking for a 650 minimum credit score. Okay. Obviously, nothing lower than that. Okay. But it's mostly an asset-based application, right? They want to make sure that you've got the money to come to the closing table to number one, fund the deal on the front end, and then also start the renovation on the back end. Okay. So they're going to check both of those things: your credit score number one, and then your liquidity number two.
Okay, awesome. Now, another question that I just want to put out here to go even a little deeper. So when we talk about comparing the traditional mortgage loan lending to walking into doing hard lending, when you go for the mortgage loan process, the lender is going to do an appraisal. Yes. And they're going to do an appraisal during the process of the deal to make sure that, okay, Coach Erica, you're buying this property for $100,000. Is it yet actually worth $100,000? So when the appraiser comes out and he or she says, well, I'm sorry, this property is only worth 50 grand. So we're 50 grand negative. And so the bank is going to say, well, you're either going to have to be willing to pay that 50 grand difference out of pocket to this seller who's selling this property, or we're not going to finance this loan because this loan is not this house, is not worth what you're trying to buy it for. So it's a risk at that point for the bank. What does that look like from the hard money side?
Yes. So the hard money lender lender, at least our hard money lender, they're also going to check up on the deal. So number one, they want to make sure that you can get pre-qualified and make sure that you've got the assets and you've got the credit, right? Number one. Number two, they want to make sure that you're actually buying a good deal, because if something happens and you get foreclosed on, which never really does happen. I mean, I haven't seen it happen much with us, but in case that does happen, they need to make sure that they're not taking something that doesn't make any sense to anybody, right? So they don't. What they're going to do is they're going to send out an appraiser, and they're going to appraise the property, Erica, but it's not based on what it's worth today. It's based on what it's worth after the fact. So that's called a subject to repairs appraisal. They don't really care what it's worth today. They want to know, like, hey, Erica, you're buying this thing for $100,000 and you're putting $50,000 of work into it. You're going to update the kitchen, update the bathroom. Maybe you're going to add a bathroom and finish out the basement to create some additional square footage, maybe even the attic as well. Then they want to know exactly what it's worth after the fact, and that's pretty much what your loan is based off of, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And there was a reason why I pointed that out. So if those of you listening, listen. Like I used to do in the school, put the listening ears on. If you listen, there's a reason why I pointed that out, because that side, it looks a little bit different. On my side, working with the bank, and it depends, and I won't say all bank, it really depends on bank to bank and what type of product and you're working with, but I'm just speaking more general terms. That can be the deal breaker for me, because if the bank is saying, hey, we're not going to finance it because it's not worth this $100,000 today, that can be a deal breaker for me if I'm going the traditional route. So that's why I want to point that out, because again, we got to educate ourselves, and we have to be knowledgeable about the process and the options when we're making decisions. Having knowledge of all these things is not going to hurt you. It's going to help you, because you're going to be more versed in how you can move when we talk about getting into your real estate career.
Question before you jump on that, backing up to that with the bank and the lending part. Now, how was so many people able to get victimized with predatory lending if the bank is right there and supposed to be like, wait a minute, this joint ain't worth that much money, we ain't gonna cover that? Like, where was all them conversations?
Are you talking about from like the housing market crash?
Yeah.
Oh, because things was done totally different then. It was just, everything, the process, because like my story, I got into real estate when I was 19, bought a property, a duplex for $125,000. First of all, I shouldn't even never got approved. I didn't make enough money. I had the credit, but I shouldn't have never got approved. But I can't speak to it in detail, but like they had different products. So like in my case, my loan was an 80-20 loan. You don't find 80-20 loans in today's market like then. So the 80-20 loan, they was able to put part of my loan in an ARM. They was able to put 20% of my loan into a balloon. So I just think, just speaking in general, things were done a little bit differently as far as products, how they were able to maneuver and do things. And then the crash happened. So then certain things had to get put into place to prevent, laws.
So in layman's term, they was in on it.
Well, I won't say all of that, but it's just things that was happening then. Absolutely, it's too many added steps now, that you go through, that I don't think they would even be able to go that route.
Somebody
now.
in there had to see this and be like, oh, it's a loophole. This sweet. Hey, pull a couple coats. Let's make some money.
Right.
I'm not sure what all that looks like, but we are in a totally different space as far as approval and what it takes to get qualified. But like I said, in my situation,
the way they do it now is in defense of that not happening again.
Correct.
Okay.
So yeah, when you walk in, just to keep it simple, when you walk in and you're going to get a mortgage loan, you got to be together. You have to be prepared. You have to have the things in place to make sure that you qualify. So it's, number one, not risky for yourself, and number two, not risky for the bank. So all your ducks, as they say, need to be in a row so you can be able to get that loan.
Before y'all continue. Mm-hmm. Who's responsible for protecting you, like the purchaser or whatever?
Who's responsible?
Yeah.
You mean out of all the people you're working with?
Yeah.
Well, this is just my opinion. I would say everybody that you're working with is responsible. And this just, again, is my opinion, because, and you are a part of that process. Now that we're going to bring it up, this is my take on it. You, as well as the individuals you are working with, are responsible for protecting you. Why does it start with you? Because you are you. You need to be versed and educated in what you're trying to do. So am I saying that when you go to buy a home, you have to know every single thing? No, but you need to do your due diligence to know a little bit about what you're getting yourself into. Whether that means you have to take the time or effort to read a book, you're listening to a podcast, you're listening to a show, you're tapping into other individuals that you may know that's in the industry. That's how you learn. Again, I'm not saying you have to know everything, but you have an obligation, a self-obligation, to educate yourself first before you start diving into things and making decisions. Now, when I talk about your team is also responsible, again, this is my opinion. Well, you have quite a few people you're working with when we talk about getting a mortgage loan. You have the broker, you have your realtor, you have your home insurance people. The list goes on and on. All these people are working with you to bring this deal together. All these individuals involved are getting a paycheck at the end of the day. Everybody's getting a check once that deal closes. So I always like to say they work for you. Everybody, it's just like, I don't have a boss. Everybody has a boss. Even the boss has a boss, okay? At that moment, you are the boss. And at that moment, they work for you because they're getting paid to represent the best interest of you. So if you are my broker or my lender and I'm coming in to get this loan, you have an obligation to do your due diligence as the professional who's well versed, that I'm sitting in front of explaining my situation and what it is that I want to do, to make sure that I am fully aware and clear. Keyword, clear on what my options are and what it is that I'm trying to do. And then once I'm clear and have those options, we can make a decision on what's maybe the best loan product for me, or maybe what's the best route for me. And same thing with a realtor. Your realtor works for you. Your realtor is drafting up the documentation for the deal. That is key. That paperwork has to be right. That paperwork, not being right can mess some things up, for lack of a better word. So again, they have an obligation to make sure that they're well knowledgeable, well versed, because they're drafting up that paperwork for you in the best interest of you. You are their client. They are getting paid to either sell or buy, or be the listing agent or the selling agent for the property. So they're getting a check either way, regardless of what side of the table they're
Now,
on.
if you had a bad experience, say for instance like yours or anybody else's, with these people who's supposed to have a good ethnic or work with what's going on, is there a agency or whatnot that governs them that you can complain with?
Well, they're all licensed.
Okay.
You don't want to mess around with your license. Every realtor has to get licensed. Brokers have to get licensed. Home inspecors have to get licensed.
Mortgage loan originators are licensed.
Yeah, everybody has a license that they hold. And so just like, any professional world, I should say, you're held to that license. There are certain stipulations and things that you can't do or you should not be doing that goes against the ethics of maybe whatever it is, whatever those ethics are for your license. So there are things in place that people should be following to make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to do, for lack of better
words. And not only
words.
that, just word of mouth. I mean,
Yep.
Word gets around town. If you're that guy or that girl or that individual just selling bad deals or putting people in tight spots, I mean, nobody wants to be that person,
Nope.
right? So, yes, there's several organizations that you can complain to. Like if you're a realtor, you can call the DSPS. You can call Greater Milwaukee Association of Realtors. There's several different people that you can contact if you want to file a complaint about a professional that you're working with, and I would imagine that would be for any other licensed professional too.
Or even, depending on the firm. I've had such situations in my journey, I won't say names, where I've had to then contact the upper people within the company to get involved, to get things resolved and get straightened out. So there's always a way you can go about it. It just really depends on the circumstances and to what level, maybe who needs to be involved given what the situation situation is. But again, all those individuals, all those professionals, they have licenses. They have to follow the ethics of their license. You can't just do anything, I should say, or you should not be doing anything or going against, not representing people in the best interests of what it is that they're looking to do. So that shouldn't be happening. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it should not be happening. So I wanted to kind of more so take the conversation. We kind of talked about the hard money lending. So if someone may be going a traditional route, maybe it might not just be realistic for them. And so coming in and working with you all to do hard money lending. But another key piece to what you all do is you find deals,
Yes.
which is huge, especially
Absolutely.
in this market. So let's talk a little bit more about that.
Yes, that's really all we do. That is our number one job. I'm building a team of ideally 20 in my office. We're up to
Okay.
8 people right
Nice.
now. We've only been in business out here in Milwaukee for 4 months
Okay.
and change, right? So we're fresh. We're brand new. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm a Texas guy, right?
Okay.
I'm not used to basements. I'm not used to 20-degree weather or under. So it's been a big learning curve, but it's been a lot of fun. And we've actually already we've closed on 8 deals already. Okay,
Nice.
and that is significant to me because I also opened up the Net Worth Realty of Chicago office back in 2017. I was the
Okay.
number 2. I went there behind the general manager, great guy. But anyways, I was telling my team a couple weeks ago, because we want to do more deals, obviously, right?
Yes.
But we're starting a business and things are slow when you're initially starting a business.
Right,
So
right.
I'm looking back at my numbers because I'm a crazy tracker. I track every outbound phone call, who picks up, who doesn't, how many leads I get, how many contracts I write, how many are actually accepted and then closed on. So back in the day, I could tell you, how many phone calls it would take for me to buy a house,
Okay.
right? So anyways, I told my team the other day, I was looking back at my numbers, I think we closed on 2 deals in our first 6.5 months in Chicago, and I made like $5,000 in the first
Okay.
6 months, okay? So to compare what that was like back in 2017 into the different larger market where you would think would be more opportunity and compare
Okay.
that to what's going on here. We've been here for 4 months. We've closed on 8 properties. We're closing on our 9th next week. So
Nice.
it's happening a little
Congratulations.
bit faster here. Thank you very much. But yes, we want to get to the point where we're doing anywhere from 10, 15, 20 properties per month that we're closing on. In the Houston market where there's 8 million people in the metropolitan Houston area,
Okay.
we're closing on 40 or 50 houses per month. Okay.
Wow.
So, I'm definitely looking to scale up to 15 to 20 deals per month, but I know that not one person or 4 people or even 8 people can buy 20 deals per month. That's just not the way that it works. So
Yeah.
if we want to do 15 to 20 deals per month in the Milwaukee market, then we need to build up to 15 to 20 associates in my office that are writing offers, knocking on doors, talking to neighbors, sending letters,
Right.
doing all the stuff that your traditional investor may or may not want to do, may or may not have the time to do. We are creating an army to go out there and do it for you.
Right. No, awesome. And so, like, for someone who's a real estate investor like myself, how does that benefit them when they have the opportunity? We were talking about that word earlier, collaborate. When they collaborate with you and your team, you are getting out, finding these deals, having them readily available. How is that maybe better than going your traditional, I'm going to, maybe work with this realtor. I'm not saying that not to work with a realtor. Let me give a disclosure. That's not the message that I'm saying. Don't take my words out of context. But maybe, I guess the point that I'm trying to get at, having someone who's out there all the time, consistently looking for deals that can be readily made available to them, how is that going to benefit them as the investor?
So not every realtor and not every individual, I would say, specializes in this type of inventory. Okay, so if you're speaking with just your average realtor, maybe they might get one fixer-upper per year, one fixer-upper, per quarter. With us, we don't sell any conventional properties. We don't sell anything that's in really, really nice shape
Right.
at full value, right?
Right.
When you come to us, it's because you're looking for properties that are, more likely than not need some work and repairs. They've got plenty of equity that you can go in there and make a flip and be profitable on that, or put it into your rental portfolio. So I would just say that the benefit to working with us is that ideally we're putting together properties on a day-to-day basis for you, just for your consideration. Take it or leave it. Here's the deal. Here's the price. And it's tailored to exactly what you're looking for.
Right. And as you all's coach, I just want to point out just some perspective, to give someone perspective. A couple things that Van touched on. Why is it beneficial for you as a real estate investor, maybe currently a real estate investor or looking to get into real estate? How does working with someone like Van and his team benefit you? Well, there's multiple things that you point out from an investing standpoint that helps. Number one, you have access to that hard money cash, or that liquid, whatever you want to call it. Whereas if we talk about in comparison to the traditional route, if I go to a table and I'm coming in with a mortgage loan and person B comes to the table and they're coming in with cash, well, cash is king. So who do you think the seller is going to go with? They're going to go with the person who has what we call a cash deal. It's not to say that if you have a mortgage loan or a traditional route that they won't go with you, but in very competitive situations, they're likely to go with the person who's bringing cash to the table. And so having collaboration and resources such as Van and his team will potentially allow you, if you qualify, to be able to come to the table with cash and not have maybe the I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but not maybe have the situation where you have to come with a mortgage loan. So there is some pros and cons to that. The other thing that he pointed out that he was talking, another educational moment that I want to point on, that again we need to be well versed, is the fact he talked about how when they go and look for distressed properties, keyword distress. So most of the properties that you are finding for the deals that you're able to find them in, they're in distress. They need help. They need to be brought back to life, as I say. These are properties that are not in good condition and likely need some money to go into them in order to bring them to that after value repair value that they need to be at. So when we talk about, again, I'm kind of doing a compare and contrast, kind of purposefully to use it as an educational point. But when we talk about like the traditional route, for example, if I go in and I want to get my mortgage loan, I have to buy a house that essentially is habitable. So when I go to my bank, they're not going to give me funding, likely, again, depends on the bank, the product, and what you're doing. They're likely not going to be willing to give me funding for something that's not habitable. And most really distressed properties are not habitable, meaning that it's not safe for someone to actually occupy the property. So when we talk about really understanding the difference in our options, the pros and cons, that would be another con, because I may have found the perfect property. It makes sense. The numbers make sense. The location makes sense. I see what my return is going to be. Everything looks great, but there's only one problem. If I'm going more of that conventional route, I may not be able to get the property, not because I don't qualify from a lending standpoint, but more so I don't qualify because the bank is not willing to finance this property in the condition it is in. And it may not even appraise out to be what you needed to appraise out to be, which is a whole nother factor. So just really understanding the difference in that, and understanding options, would you say?
Yeah, 100%. And that's exactly why you would have to go with either a private money loan or a lender on that, or just a hard money lender would be preferred, because a conventional mortgage or a conventional lender, like you said, Erica, is just not going to, it's not going to work out. Right. Number one, they also take a little bit more time. You know, a hard money lender, a good one, they can close within a week, I've seen, which is pretty great, right?
Yes.
2 weeks, give or take, most of them. But your conventional lender is going to take maybe 30, maybe 45 days to get a deal done. In just terms like that, outside of it not being a cash transaction, right? Because if you're cash, you can close tomorrow if you got the cash, right?
If you got the cash.
A conventional lender is going to have to, they're going to need a month and a half, and it just never works out.
Okay. No, thank you for this. Has been great. For those just checking in, again, we have Van Blackman here from Net Worth Realty Milwaukee, that has been giving us all the insight. So make sure you stay tuned in. The other question that I want to ask you, Van, is just giving your experience and your perspective. You deal with a lot of investors. You've seen a lot of different markets outside of the Milwaukee market. What is maybe something you would suggest or recommend to someone who's tuning in, listening in, watching, that is like ready to pull that move on real estate, but maybe have some hesitancy for whatever reason? What would you tell them? What would be your advice?
I would tell them to come talk to us first off.
Yes.
You know, we would just sit you down and explain exactly who we are and how we do things, number one, and then we would help to determine if you're even able to buy something, right?
Yep.
But there's no time like now, right? Like, get in, get some experience. We have a saying, you know, obviously we want everybody to be very, very profitable on any deal that they buy from us at Net Worth Realty. But if it's your first deal that you've ever done and it's a flip and you end up making only 5 or 10 or 15 grand, if you don't lose money, like, that is an absolute win. That's that's an education that you're getting paid on, and hopefully you should be improving and getting better from that first flip or that first rental or whatever it is. But, you know, like I said, there's no better time than now to start, you know, building your business and buying deals if that's what you think that you want to do.
Right. And thank you for laying that out, because I get that a lot, and I hear people, you know, you hear conversations, you're in conversations with people, and yes, can real estate be extremely profitable? Absolutely, it can be profitable. Whether you're going the fix and flip route, whether you're going to do your buy and holds and have your rental, whatever route you're going to go, it can be very successful and profitable. But thank you, and I can appreciate the transparency in the fact that sometimes it doesn't go the way you think it's going to go. And what you just talked about is huge, and I think people need to understand that and be open to that you may do that first flip and it may not go the way you think. You may not make all this money, or people will say, well, I'm going to get into real estate and I'm going to have all this money. And I just laugh like, okay, it's possible. I'm not saying it's not, but also being versed and knowledgeable and knowing that sometimes it doesn't go the right way. And that's a part of the process. Any type of investment or risk that you take is not guaranteed. There's risk with any investment, is what I'm saying. And the thing that I heard you say that is crucial, it's more about the education, the experience. That is huge right there, what you just said. And the reason why it's huge for somebody listening in that's really to look into getting to real estate, don't look at the deal as, I was planning to make 50 grand. Maybe you were looking at your return being 50K. And you didn't make that. Maybe you made less than half than that. Or maybe you broke even, meaning that you got all your money back that you invested into the deal, but you didn't actually walk away with a profit after the fact. That's not a lose, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a lose. And the reason why it's not a lose, real estate, you're always learning. You will hear me openly say, I'm always learning. I learn every day. I am not the end all be all. I will never say that I know everything. I use every day as an opportunity to learn. Every single project I've ever done was an opportunity to learn. There has not been one project I have not done where I have not looked back at my notes. Yes, I keep a notebook of notes that I reference back to and say, like, dang, how could I have done this different? Where did I go wrong with this? What do I need to look more into? That is important when we talk about your journey to success. You have to be willing to reflect. We have to reflect. We have to look back. We have to have an open mind, open perspective that, okay, maybe it didn't quite go the way I wanted it to go, but how do I learn from this opportunity? How do I grow? How do I get better? And that is so key, and understanding that in some deals we do, maybe it's not profitable, but it's a learning moment. It's a learning curve to get you more prepared and prepped for the next deal, so you can do better. Absolutely. And you can make a profit, and maybe make an even bigger profit.
Yep, exactly.
So no, this is great. So Van, if someone is on the Facebook Live or watching in live and they want to be able to get that appointment ready with you and your team, yes, how do they reach you all?
So you guys can find us at networthrealtyusa.com. That is going to be our parent company's website. The really cool thing about that is you can go to a section of the website called case studies, okay? And you can see what we're doing nationwide, and you can see what our investors are buying deals from us, their price point, what they're putting into it in terms of rehab estimates. You can see what we told them what we thought it was worth after they put X amount of money into the property.
Okay.
You can compare that to what it actually sold for and how profitable they actually were on the deal.
Okay.
You're going to see before and after photos. So just if you're looking for more information, there's a lot of great stuff there.
Nice.
From, San Diego, California to Tampa, Florida, like all over the country, right?
Nice.
And then you will be able to find Net Worth Realty of Milwaukee there. Our contact information is there. You can reach out to us and we can discuss next steps.
So a question that I just thought of, if we have an investor that wants to work with you and your team, they're going to start off locally here in Milwaukee, getting properties through you all, and they say, you know what, I'm ready to just conquer, and they say, well, can I get properties in Texas? Are you
Yes.
able to help them get the lending to be able to now go to Texas
Yes.
and buy a property and do what it is that they need
Absolutely. So our lender, again, it's called 212 Loans, based out of Houston, Texas, right?
Okay.
They do all of our deals nationwide, and it's
Okay.
all the same rates. And I'm hearing our rates here, just for your knowledge, is super, super, super competitive, right?
Yes.
I'm hearing a lot of these other lenders are charging much more. We're underneath. Which is great for everybody. Anyways, yes, they will do loans across the nation, and they only do Net Worth Realty loans, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
I think that's about to change. So if you're looking for loans outside of Net Worth Realty, I think they're about to kind of change the hat and do deals that aren't Net Worth Realty deals. But for
Okay.
right now, this second, they only do Net Worth Realty deals, which is pretty cool.
Okay,
So y'all
awesome.
like in-house financing.
Yeah, 100%. We're in-house financing, and that's really important because, a lot of other lenders out there don't fully understand what we do and how we do it. So just in case, there's never going to be an instance where my lender's going to call you the night before closing and say, hey, we can't do the deal. The appraiser was dragging their feet. They
Right.
took way too long. We need a 5-day extension. Like, that's never going to happen because they know exactly what's going on with that deal. And 212 is Net Worth Realty and vice versa, right?
Right.
So when we sell deals to our investors through other lenders, we kind of tread lightly because we need to get on the phone with them and explain how we do things, right? But yes, to answer your question, that was very long-winded.
No, that was
But,
great, though.
yes, if you're a local investor here in Milwaukee and you're looking for deals in Chicago or Houston or Dallas or Las Vegas, we can help you find the deal, number one. Number two, we can get you the lending to do that as well.
Nice. So not only working with Van and his team right here in Milwaukee, Net Worth Realty Milwaukee, not only do you have the opportunity to have your investments here locally, but you can expand nationwide and talk about that growth and having opportunities to have investments in other places. So please make sure you tap in. Can we get the website, phone number one more time?
Yes, ma'am. It's networthrealtyusa.com.
networthrealtyusa.com. Excuse me. Make sure you tap in, tune in. Thank you so much for coming on today. I'm so appreciative.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
You are welcome. This has been great. This has been a great discussion, a very educational discussion. I feel like to really bring some perspective and knowledge for those who are seeking that when we talk about this game of real estate. And I think it spoke to everything that I started off talking about on the show, of just the point of not having a scarcity mindset and not being afraid to collaborate. This is a collaboration right here happening live in this moment, collaborating, sharing the information, coming together to make sure what needs to be out into the world is being out into the world. And so again, before I go in closing, I cannot stress that enough. We are at our first Friday of the year. We are still fresh in the year. Maybe it may have been a little bit shaky for you for the first 3 days. That's okay. That's not your cue to give up and say, oh, I blew my goals already, or maybe I didn't eat what I said I was going to eat, or I haven't made it to the gym yet. It is okay. Give yourself some grace. Start over, hit the reset button. I'm going to tell you to hit the reset button every time, even if it's only already the third day of the year. Hit the reset button if you need to. And let's get our minds right. Let's start collaborating. Let's start being supportive. Let's start working together so we can make these great outcomes together and help each other support our goals and what it is that we're looking to do. But we have so much more to come. I am so excited for 2025. This year of multiplication, journey word, is full of things. It is already multiplying. It is already happening. I can't stop speaking it enough. But We have more amazing people coming onto the show. We are going to keep building. We're going to keep adding. We're going to keep bringing the information. If you want it, it's going to be right here, but you got to take the first step, and that means that you have to put forth the effort to tune in, because as I always say, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, but what you choose to do with it strictly depends on you and what your outcome of the day is going to be. So until we talk and meet again, remember, get your mind right, get your money right, and get moving today, right now, in this moment. Let's get going, ladies and gentlemen. Have an amazing day and continue to be great and fantastic. See you all soon.
All right.
Later.
Once again, that's On the Journey with Coach Erica, man. Y'all make sure y'all tune in. Every Friday we gonna do it. She gonna bring some of her friends up here, man. They gonna educate us. Hey, y'all welcome to call in with questions. Y'all welcome to hit the inboxes on social media, the comments with your questions. I know some of y'all at work. Boss ain't gonna have you all on the phone. We know how to sneak. Sometimes you just gotta go to the bathroom. No, go to the bathroom for a minute. Tell them you got the bubble guts. You know what I mean? Go to the bathroom. Tell them the coffee did it to you. You know what I mean? All right. Y'all keep it locked. We about to jump off into the music, man. We gonna do a neo soul kind of vibe today, y'all. Ride it out. So y'all keep it locked. The request lines is open 414-502-9447. Y'all keep it locked.
Play that. Hip hop and R&B.
Right here.
It's great radio.